It's time for more VB MMA picks for UFC Mexico City on Saturday, March 29th from the Sede MX Arena in Mexico City. Moreno versus Erceg on Saturday, March 29th. VB MMA picks brought to you by SX Bet, the world's largest blockchain betting exchange. VB, we've got my man Brandon Moreno, the T1Es this weekend against Erceg. We got two other fights to preview. Thank you for getting our crew together, and thank you for a great show. Here we go.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great show. Well, of course it's gonna be great. Uncle Weezy is here, so he's one of the sharpest guys, especially when it comes to stats. Always interested to hear what he has to say. And my man Jeremy here from SX, happy to have you. And yeah, let's have a great show, guys. I mean, I like this card for betting. I think it's very good card for props too. And I'm trying to be a little bit careful with props. Uncle Weezy, but I think I will have some luck here maybe. So let's talk about this fights.
Let's do it. This is an interesting card from a betting perspective. So I'm interested to see how if we're lining up on these spots that we've picked out to talk about today.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll talk with our crew, and thank you to everyone joining us live in the chat. Your comments are always welcome. Comments and questions for the gang. We'll flash them on the screen and answer anything that you guys want to know about the UFC card this weekend. All right, let's get rolling here with our card here from Mexico City and start it off with featherweights here, guys. VB, we've got 27-year-old Christian Rodriguez. He's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 12-2, 5-2 in the UFC. He rebounded from a loss to take a unanimous decision last time out over Bashi is about a $2 dog. VB's won 5 of his last 6. That sets up nicely here against 28-year-old Brazilian Mel Costa from Sao Paulo. He's 22-7, 3-2 in the UFC's won 2 in a row, including that round 1 submission VB over Feely just a month ago as a $1.30 favorite. VB, what do you have on these featherweights?
Yeah, this was the first fight I taped this week, because I've been betting both of these guys pretty well, especially when it comes to Costa. I'm unafraid betting him. I mean, I was betting this guy before he even came to the UFC, and you know, Raymond, if you can share the screen. I mean, this is my record on him. It's pretty damn good, I would say, right? Like I was betting Costa when he was in LFA, even like before he lost this guy Gomez back in the day, and then I bet him against these guys. Then he comes to UFC, beats Lingo. Then I bet Garcia against him at crazy line, and then I bet him last 2 times. So yeah, you guys probably also see here what I have. Spoiler, but I'm very high on Sirat here. I think his cardio is gonna be a huge problem. For Costa. I think Costa is a good fighter. But when he gets kind of tough, I think he finds a way out sometimes. Like Diego Moises' fight, I know was on short notice, but that fight was a horrible look. When he got taken down, he couldn't get up. And Moises, to me, is like good grappler, but if you're a top guy, I think you should get spot through. I think you should be a guy like Moises if you're like really top 10 guy. Like you shouldn't lose to him. And he lost to him, but he also got finished. He got finished quickly, so that's not a good look in my opinion. And also in general, I think Sirat is a great fighter to like target in these kind of spots where he's been in Mexico actually for 5-6 weeks already. He's at elevation, so he's training pretty well. I think he's gonna be used to this elevation more than Costa is. Costa's got casting is not good to start with anyway. So even though I think he has some guillotine here, possibly maybe he can go for a guillotine, maybe he can let some high kick or hurt Sirat. Besides those like big moments, I don't see him winning minutes. I think Sirat is going to be going forward. I think Sirat is going to be landing bigger shots. If they grapple, Sirat's counter grappling is very good. And in general, I think Sirat is like, for me, like top 15 guy. Costa is like close, but I don't think he's top 15. I think hardware edge is huge also. Like Sirat can hit a big shots. Costa, I don't think so. I think Costa is more hittable than Sirat also. So I think it's a competitive fight on the feet, but as this fight progresses, I think Seattle is gonna take over big time. Miguel's cardio for me is not very good, and I'm pretty good betting this guy. I know. Some past fights doesn't really mean like I can read him again easily, but I think overall, like when he fights a guy who is like a little bit slower, he kind of pisses them up. Like Yalan Shah guy, for example, is very slow. His entries are very sloppy. You know, he's not slick grappler like shout out Lou, what's up? He's not a slick grappler like C-Rod. C-Rod can scramble very well. You know what I mean? He doesn't gas in during scrambling. Meanwhile, these other guys he's fighting, they're very gassy. And in general, like if you look at Steve Garcia fight, he was dead. He was very tired in round 2 in that fight already. Like when you put pressure on him, I think he doesn't do well. So I'm betting C-Rod big. I already took him like actually at minus 155, right? But then I added a little bit more last night on SX because the line was very good. Yeah, I think this is my first bet I took on SX this week. Minus 135 yesterday, so I added 300 more on him. I only have almost $2,000 on C-Rod, but I added 300 more because the line was so damn good on SX. So yeah, I took few more here, and I think it's a good fight to start the card with. Pretty good fight. What you think, Uncle Wheezy? I mean, I'm feeling you are on the right opposite side here. I could be wrong.
I am on the opposite side here. You know what? I wrote this fight up already. Let me just read the summary of my write-up here to give you an idea of where I'm at on this one. This is what I wrote. I love this fight. Both of these guys are well-rounded fighters with multiple paths to victory. Both are in their late 20s. Both guys have been tested with a solid level of UFC competition thus far, and both guys have winning UFC records. I would consider both guys to be hot fighters with positive career trajectories. Christian Rodriguez has been a prospect killer in the UFC thus far, taking the O from Rosas, Simon, Bulgarian, and Bashi. He's a well-rounded fighter with excellent pocket boxing, great anti-grappling, and an opportunistic submission game. Christian is 3 wins and 1 loss when he's priced as an underdog thus far in the UFC. So backing him at the window has been extremely profitable. Christian is 1 year younger, and he has the UFC experience and the UFC strength of schedule advantages in this matchup. Mel Kaizel is the natural featherweight. He's 3 inches taller. He has a lot more professional experience. He's a southpaw, and he does an excellent job of using his kicks at distance striking range to manage the distance and score points while staying safe defensively. I think Costa will be the guy more likely to initiate the grappling exchanges in this fight, but I think these guys are going to be well matched wherever the fight goes. I don't understand why the market is making Christian 61% implied to win this fight, because I think it should be much closer to 50-50. People seem to forget that Christian has 1 win and 2 losses at 145 pounds in the UFC. Mel Kaizel will be the bigger and stronger fighter in this matchup, and I believe that size advantage, along with his excellent kicking attack, will allow him to do the slightly better work at distance striking range because of his range management and his output. Christian has excellent anti-grappling, but I worry about his ability to go out there and get takedowns and find top time against his opponents up at this weight class of 145 pounds. He was able to do that at 135 when he was missing weight by 5 pounds, but he's not a weight bully or a size bully anymore up here at 145. So where is Christian minus 160 versus Costa? Is it in the striking? Is it in the wrestling? Is it the conditioning? Because that's where I see him having the biggest advantage. But I don't see him being a better minute winner in the striking or grappling exchanges in this particular matchup. Honestly, I don't see a reason Rodriguez should be this big of a favorite against Costa, who has very few weak spots in his MMA skill set. Both of these guys have submission upside in this fight, as both have opportunistic Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and both guys have been submitted before. But I think this fight winds up going to decision. These guys are too well matched, and I'm guessing they prefer to strike at elevation so they don't get gassed out trying to grapple. I'm going to favor the size, the length, the kicks, and the overall experience on the Mel Kaizel Costa side to win this fight by decision.
Jeremy Costa really, Feely kind of handed it to him almost when they fought just a month ago, and Costa gets right back here in the ring against a guy in Rodriguez that, well, they keep kind of taking down everybody they keep offering to him for the most part.
Yeah, it looks like VB, you got the better of the line there at 135 on SX. We've moved, well, the line's moved now. Best offer on Rodriguez is now 142. So it looks like you got a great price there. My look on this fight, I'm just going to look at the gas tanks here. As VB mentioned, Costa's gas tank might be a little bit of a question here, especially fighting at elevation. I could expect gas will be a big deal, and they are a good stylistic matchup. They should counter each other well. But I'm going to fade Wheezy here. I'm Mr. Under, and I feel like the price on the under here is good. There's a lot of openings for finishes in this fight, whether it's in the striking or the submission aspect. And if Costa comes out firing because he expects to be gassed in the later rounds, and Rodriguez isn't really going to win minutes, I think it's going to sort of get to a dogfight in the late second round. And there could be an opening, whether it's on the ground or on the feet. If one guy gets tired here or gets put in the wrong position, both guys have the ability to finish here. Love the price on the under. So that's going to be my pick in this fight here.
Yeah, I don't mind the under actually, Jeremy. I'm on it too a little bit, but yeah, I mean, Weezy mentioned that if you look at the stylistically, Costa is it's many things is better. Let's be honest. He's a better kicker. He's a better he's faster. But the thing is, can he keep it up though? At elevation, when his cardio looks like against Steve Garcia in round 2, he was dead. He had nothing in round 2 in that fight because he got pressured in that fight. Andre Philly went for a takedown, and in half guard he gets guillotined. Is that impressive?
Yeah, that was so weird. Yeah, that was so weird.
I mean, is it Philly being I don't know, maybe he's washed or maybe he's done in the sport, or is Costa so amazing that he leaves in I think it's Philly kind of messing up there more than Costa doing something amazing, so
but what was it because Costa was picking him apart on the feet that caused Philly to shoot there? True. I mean, if you look at what was happening on the feet before Philly shot, it wasn't going well for Andre, and Andre's way bigger than Christian Rodriguez.
Actually,
and don't forget, Moises is a 155er. Costa took that fight up at 155. We're talking about, Rodriguez being a former 135er here. So I do think that this size is going to play a part here, and the kicking is going to play a part. But I get what you're saying about the cardio. It means a lot if we're fighting in Mexico City. So that's something that's definitely on the Rodriguez side. I agree with you there.
Okay.
All right, fair enough, guys. Let's go. We're going to go right now. That's it for the undercard for us. Let's go right to VB, the co-main event with an explosive matchup here, possibly in the lightweight division. Let's talk about it. Wheezy, it's going to be a 30-year-old Manuel Torres, the Mexicano, 15-3, 3-1 in the UFC. The bonus baby, if you will. He comes in off of a round 1 knockout loss, however, to Bahamondes. Last September, he was a minus $1.40 favorite in that one. He's up here against veteran 36-year-old Drew Dober from Omaha, fights out of Denver, so not too worried about it here down in Mexico City. 27-14, 13-10 in the UFC. He has lost 3 of his last 4, including one to Gene Silva by round 3 stoppage last July. He was an even money choice in that one. It was a good fight, earned the fight of the night bonus for these guys. Wheezy, what do you have on these lightweights? Looks good here in the co-main.
This is awesome matchmaking. I mean, this is about as good as it gets right here. This is why it's the co-main event. Manuel Torres, always in all-action fights. Drew Dober, always in all-action fights. Both of these guys are all gas and no breaks, all offense, no defense. It's going to be a great way to set up the main event of this card. From a gambling perspective, I think that a lot of people are trying to pile on, and it's something that I think good gamblers do, especially in this sport, is if you see the wheels start to come off, you want to start fading that guy. And I think that's what people are trying to do with Drew Dober right now. You know, they're saying that he's lost his last 3 out of his last 4 fights. He got finished by Gene Silva. He got finished by Matt Frivola, which was very surprising as a sizable favorite there. So I think that people are starting to fade Drew Dober. But, you know, you look at the last 5 names on Manuel Torres' resume, right? Colton England, Frank Camacho, Nick Moda, Chris Duncan, and Ignacio Bahamondes. And then you look at Dober, and it's, you know, Bobby Green, Matt Frivola, Ricky Glenn, Hinato Moicano, Gene Silva. A couple names before there is Islam Makhachev. You know, you're talking about a different level of competition that these guys have been fighting up until this point. How does Manuel Torres win fights? He wins them in round 1. Has he ever won a fight in round 2? No. Has he ever won a fight in round 3? No. Has he ever won a decision? Yes. Have you watched that fight? It was a horrible look, dude. He had nothing left after 3 minutes of that fight. And the only reason he won was because he was fighting a complete nobody that actually had worse conditioning than him. What happens if this fight gets out of round 1? You know, is there any evidence to suggest that we can see on tape that this guy Manuel Torres is going to have any ability to win minutes or moments, even after the 3 or 4 minute mark of this fight, especially at elevation? Drew Dober's been training at elevation for a decade. This is not going to be anything new to him, fighting up at this level. And in addition to that, Drew Dober is a guy who gets better as the fight goes on. He counts on that durability. He counts on that pressure, and he never fucks off. So if Manny Torres doesn't get him out of there early, I don't see him. I see his margins becoming very thin to win this fight as we go to round 2, as we go to round 3, if this thing gets to the scorecards. In addition, even in round 1, I think Drew Dober's the better striker. I think Drew Dober's the more powerful striker. I think Drew Dober is the more durable fighter. You know, just because you got knocked out by Matt Frivola once, I mean, okay, this guy's had 42 professional fights. His chin is always holding up. His chin held up against Gene Silva, for Christ's sake, just the last fight out 8 months ago. And it didn't get stopped until there was a cut bad enough that the referee had to come in and stop it. But, you know, Manny Torres doesn't hit like Gene Silva does. That guy's got bricks for hands. So I just think that Drew Dober is the side here at even money, because most fights do get to round 2. And even if this thing does end in round 1, I think Drew Dober is probably a little bit more likely to finish it than Manny is. So, yeah, I like the Drew Dober money line a lot here. I played him 2 units at plus 105.
All right, and Jeremy, maybe you got Dober kind of on the road here, but like I said, everyone knows he trains out of Denver, so the altitude shouldn't be a factor here, but you're definitely going to have Torres with a little bit of crowd advantage.
Yeah, Weezy hit all the points I was looking at as well. In my research here, strength of schedule, if you look at Dober, yes, he's lost some fights, but these are some serious names he's gone up against. Taking Makhachev to round 3 in general is just a feat in its own. We got Dober up on SX at plus 112, so you're looking at 12 cents better than even money, which is probably the best price. I know it's the best price around. So at plus 112, with the points we made here, I like it. When you look at Torres, he swings, he does well, but when you put him up against a big name like Bahamondes, like he got starched in that fight. So he's up and coming. He's had some flashy performances, but put him in against a guy that's really seasoned veteran, especially at altitude. Both are going to come out chucking. You also got Dober as a southpaw here, so might be a little bit of a sneaky advantage there. Can snap up a few extra shots, and at plus 112, I think I'm going with experience, a guy who's fought against some big names and could take it past that first round. So I'm on Dober here as well.
All right, VB, pretty steady line. There's a few books kind of opened a Dober, maybe a little bit less of a price. In fact, BOL had him at, I think they opened him maybe a favorite here. What do you got?
Yeah, guys, I want to mention the things I wanted to mention. Like Manuel Torres' cardio is basically unheard of. He doesn't have cardio because he got his after a couple minutes. He's basically Daniel Lacerda of lightweights. But he's damn good in round one. Let's be honest, because what he did to Chris Duncan was pretty impressive, especially after we just saw Chris Duncan submit Vucenic, who's a black belt. So taking Chris Duncan down and taking his back and submitting him in round one is a skill. You need to be a good grappler. You need to have a good back take, and um, that's an impressive win. So that's that. But besides that, like, how does he win this fight? I have no idea. Like, if he doesn't get him in round one by sub, maybe takes his back, or maybe hurts him and jumps on the guillotine, maybe, or something like that. I don't think he can finish Dober. I don't think he can win a decision at all. I mean, Dober is gonna be pressuring him in 2-3, and I don't even think he's gonna go to a decision in general. I think Dober stops him in probably round two. But the line was very surprising because we just saw this guy get flatlined by Bahamondes, who's not even a big power puncher. Like, he got melted by Bahamondes. Bahamondes is a good fighter, though. He's a very, very good fighter, but um, he doesn't like one punch KO people either. So, like, yeah, I mean, I think Torres is super hittable. Even Frank Camacho was landing on this guy like no problem. Like, he was gassing, he was all over the place, he was wobbling, and he was hitting Camacho back, and then he dropped him at some point. But if you play that kind of game with Drew Dober, most of the people end up on their back, unconscious, because you can't play power and chin game with Drew Dober for the most part. I know Fremula got him one time, but it is what it is. So I think that it's overall good spot for Dober here to bounce back. He has a couple losses in a row. I think he has two losses in a row to Moicano. The fight was very close, and then he fought Gene Silva competitively. I mean, round two was competitive. Gene Silva did some big shots, like huge shots on him. He took everything, and then cut stoppage happened because doctor stopped it. But overall, it was still a good performance, I would say. He didn't quit. He was there all the whole time. And doctor said, "Hey, no more." Like, the cut is too big. So it is what it is. It's MMA. But in general, like, when you see this kind of line, and I mean, this basically is the best line on the market right now, and
Yeah.
I will take it. I mean, I think I have like plus 100 on Dober before the show. This is for the show. I say it all the time. This is not all I have on these fights, but I'll bet like 190 extra here to win 200 almost. So yeah, I will take Dober here. The line is very good. So
Yeah, it is.
yeah, I think Dober is the side, man. I mean, I just don't understand how Manuel Torres is like plus 400 to win in round one. Basically, it's like,
Yeah.
but here's the thing: like, round one sub is plus 1,000 for Torres. I don't think it's bad. I think round first is a good hedge to have here. You can get plus 1,000, maybe even better odds on some other books. So if you bet a couple units, you can kind of make a small bet on the round one sub on Torres, and if he gets him in round one, you're safe. Because again, Dober has been submitted before. Let's be honest, his grappling is not very good.
Yeah.
So if Torres gets him in round one, you don't want to be losing the couple units here, which I bet Dober pretty big. So I took that hedge. Wheezy. I think it's a good hedge to have at plus
Agreed.
1,000. Plus 1,000, it's a good idea in my opinion.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
VB,
yeah.
check this out too. I want to shout out Manuel Torres for getting that submission against Chris Duncan, because I cashed on Chris Duncan against Bolaji Oki at plus money. I cashed on Chris Duncan at the plus 3.5 points handicap against Vucenic last time out at plus 165 because Torres got that sub. And when I went back and I watched it like 3 times, and I was like, man, that was slick, but it was also fluky as hell. Duncan got put in a kind of like a bad spot, and as he was trying to get back up, he kind of tripped into the next takedown, and he gave up his back. It was a little bit of a fluke. Is the kind of thing that happens while you're training, and you go, fuck, I fucked that up. That won't happen again. But obviously, he didn't do that in the room at ATT, and he got caught there. So, I think that Torres submission was a little bit fluky, and I don't think Duncan was expecting him to wrestle. And because of that, I think Torres has been a little bit overrated, and Duncan has been a little bit underrated because of that moment.
Possibly, yeah. The thing is, Drew Dober makes a lot of mistakes when he gets back there. You know what I mean? So he can make something like that.
Right.
And I don't want to I have a couple of units on Dober, so I would rather have that small edge. If he knocks him out with a huge elbow that he got Mata with or something, I'm gonna be
Oh,
fine. I mean,
yeah,
but I don't think that's gonna happen again. So I think it's like a club and sub or back take. So
agreed.
I'm taking Dober. 2-3 is gonna be like if this fight just even if it's compared to round one, maybe even Manuel wins round one. On the live line, Dober is gonna be a massive favorite right away.
Yeah, I
You know?
know. Yeah.
So I think I mean you can I think you can just bet Dober here and just wait for round one maybe to survive for Torres and take him live after round one at plus 300 or something. I mean it's gonna be very
Yeah.
very different in round two. This fight in round one is gonna be competitive, but later I don't think so.
Yeah, Dober pre-flop is definitely the side, and I mean, there's nothing more exhausting in MMA than being pressured. And Drew
Yeah.
Dober never takes a backward step. He's going to exhaust Manuel Torres the longer this fight goes with his pressure.
Yeah, I agree.
Jeremy, real quick, do you think in the betting exchange realm, and I think it goes in general in betting, but a closely rated fight on the exchange, do you think that that does increase the handle? I don't want to say handle for you guys because we know it's a peer-to-peer exchange, but do you think that people gravitate? We know they, going to be more split action in a closely rated fight. I would think technically it's not supposed to be. We should always see a 50-50 if we're doing our job. I say our job as the public, as bookmakers in a way, when we talk about peer-to-peer, but does the actual volume of betting from a perspective, from the your perspective or a bookmaker perspective, I won't put that on your shoulders, but can you comment on that?
Yeah, it doesn't even matter MMA or if you look at just like basketball spreads, stuff like that. The true line on spreads in basketball should be 50-50. And when you get a fight on the money line that's as close to 50-50, you're essentially you're canceling out the middleman. So you're not paying that 5% juice at minus 110, 110. If you get two guys with a good bankroll that both have a side, they throw up even money. You're looking at two titans going head to head. So the closer it is to 50-50, you'll find that that's when people get opinionated, right? You flip a coin. Some people, tails never fails. They'll stick to it. So it's sort of the same thing. When you got plus 300s, unless you're doing like a deep dive, a lot of people don't want to really take on that action. But if you're getting 50-50 lines and you think you have the edge there, that's when you see the numbers start to jump up. So I find these closer fights, they do really well in the exchange. Just looking at this fight in general, right? We've got plus 120 up right now. That actually that's actually gone now. So we're looking, Dober's back down to plus 100, Toro's minus 116. So if you want to get Dober at plus 110, you got an option there. So as it gets tighter, you'll see a lot more action, I find.
Yeah, I wanna answer the question, Raymond, if you don't mind. The Noble comment. I wanna thank him and
Yeah, sure.
last week on the show, we picked Ibura on the show. This is all free. We picked Ibura on the show. Very close fight. People thought it was, but plus 150 was the side. We picked Ibura. We picked Cameron Holland at plus money also, and Brady in the main event. So if you listened to our show last week, we did pretty damn well.
I had 3 units on Tabora. That was a nice
Nice.
cash, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was very close. It was very.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was very close. Yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
It was a good show, guys. Even the host called his exact play in that contest we all get in, Wheezy. Even the host said 4th round submission in the main event. So even the host here might have had a few winners
Good job.
last week. Thanks, guys. That's why I've got you here. You think this is by chance? No. All right. Good job, VB. That'll segue us in here, I think, right into we'll get to that main event in just a moment between Moreno and Erceg. But first, you can slide into VB's DMs and get the plays for this weekend's card here with the main event, Moreno versus Erceg, and the other fights. When you subscribe to VB MMA Picks VB, it was a good card last week, an exciting card, but we're on the road here again this week. So what's going on in MMA this week? You had some other great calls, VB. I gotta admit, with Lochran last week as well. You mentioned the Tabura, you doubled down on him, and of course Holland as well. What's going on this week?
Yeah, as I said, next week also you can hit me up next week too, But
Sure.
yeah, I mean it is a good week for betting in my opinion. I mean again last week money lines did well, but props got me again. I gotta reduce them big time, and I will. So I think that's the only problem I have right now. Money lines last 12 months have been doing very well. I have very big bettors to tell me, and they're doing very fine. So I gotta reduce props. Too many props. Too many unders I played last week. I played Kuram under. I played Haaland under. It could have cash, but it didn't. So it's just how it goes sometimes, and it is what it is. I gotta reduce them. As far as this week, you can hit me up, on X or follow the link below, and yeah, sign up on my, on the website below, pixcity.com. So yeah, that's that. I think it's a good week for betting, as I mentioned. Even regionals are, rising card. I like to cop, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. I think from Mexico. Some fighters are gonna be exhausted. I really wanna be there if Melky gets exhausted. I'll go easy. I have a max bet on C-Rod, so we'll see. We'll see if it goes like that. Maybe I'm wrong, and we'll see how it goes. But some people say, hey, you shouldn't talk about elevation too much. You shouldn't mention it. You shouldn't mention that. Listen, man, you should mention it because it's very important. Like you
It
cannot.
is very important.
Like people are saying you shouldn't talk about it. Everybody talks about it. Like maybe somebody's watching only my show, and they don't know about the elevation, and I should tell them, right? I mean, this is the why we are doing the damn show. So elevation matters. People gas out. Like look at Salt Lake City, even. Like Jan was looking death gassed in that fight, for example. Guy who last weekend looked very fine. So elevation is a real thing, and in general, I think more info you have for a fight, better. So I think it's a good idea to mention those. Wiz, you want to add anything yourself?
No, man, you touched on it. Elevation's very important, so you have to look at each fight this week through that lens as to, conditioning, who got there, who's been training for it, who's prepared for it.
There's no doubt, guys. That's why so many Olympic level athletes, and we just mentioned, obviously, they're in that last fight with Dober, training in elevation in Denver. I mean, that's where a lot of athletes end up just for that purpose, not only so that they can sustain in venues like this, but in general, it can, lengthen out your durability and your, be able to last long. Yeah, you got cardio. Thank you, VB. You guys are the experts here. So, all right. Yeah, follow VB MMA Picks on X. You'll talk directly to him getting ready for that card. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Now let's get into that main event here on Saturday night with flyweights. My man, 31-year-old Brandon Moreno, fights out of Tijuana. Currently in Las Vegas, but the number 2 ranked flyweight contender. He's 22-8-2, 10-5-2 in the UFC. He's coming off a unanimous decision win, VB, over Albazi last November as a minus 175 favorite. He's up against the number 8 contender, Steve Erceg, the 29-year-old from Perth, is 12-3, 3-2 now in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight, including that round 1 knockout to Cara France last August at UFC 305. He was about a 225 favorite on that night. Wheezy, what do you have here with these flyweights?
Yeah, this is an interesting one, because Steve Erceg comes into the UFC. He gets a win over Dvorak. He gets a win over Costa. He gets a win over Schnell. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're giving you a title shot now, and he goes all the way to Brazil. He fights Alexander Pantoja in Brazil. And everybody knows, I think everybody knows, even the people that are betting on Erceg, this is too much too soon for this young man. But the division is in flux. There's not a lot of people putting together long winning streaks here. There's a lot of similarly skilled fighters up near the top of this division. And Erceg just was in the right place at the right time. and he got put into a situation against Pantoja where I think a lot of people thought he was going to go out there and get rinsed. And he overperformed in a loss. And that's one of the most dangerous things to back in MMA. We just saw it last week with Vucenic, right? He's plus 250 against Guram. He's a big underdog. He goes out there, he comes very close to winning the fight, and then they make him a minus 450, minus 500 favorite against Chris Duncan. It makes no sense. We saw it happen with Rolando Bedoya, right? Rolando Bedoya almost goes out there and beats Chaos Williams in his debut. They make him a massive favorite in his next fight, and he shits the bed against Jimmy Yontop, I think. Or I don't remember who it was, but whoever it was, he wasn't supposed to lose the fight, and he lost the fight. So, you don't want to overrate people in a loss, and that's what happened with Erceg now. We overrated him in the loss against Pantoja, and he goes out there and he's a big favorite against Kai Kara-France, and he gets slept in the first round. Now, that was a pretty amazing combination that Kai put together there. He missed with the right, but then he just connected with the left, and Steve caught it, but he wasn't out from it, right? His head didn't hit the canvas. He got back to his feet, and then Kai landed up a really nice straight right hand that drops him. The ref steps in. Erceg's a pretty durable guy, you guys. Like that shot that he got caught with Kai was perfect, and Kai swung from all the way from New Zealand to hit that one in Perth. And anybody else in the division, I think, would have been knocked out cold from that. So we just overrated Erceg in a loss, and then he loses his next fight as a favorite. So now it looks to me like we might be getting him at a discount here, because just 2 fights ago, Brandon Moreno was basically saying, "I'm retiring. I don't have it anymore. I don't have the passion for the sport anymore." And that's what happens to a lot of former champions, is they go out there and once they fall off the top of the mountain, it's hard to get back up there. And Moreno's already done it a couple of times, because he had that back and forth war with Figueiredo that lasted 4 fights, and there was a draw in there, So he's already been through this champion, not champion, champion, not champion. And the win last time against Amir Albazi, dude, he should have finished Amir Albazi. Albazi had absolutely nothing for him. And I was a little bit disappointed, because halfway into round 2, I remember whoever I was watching the fights with, I'm like, the fuck did Albazi even show up for? He's not doing anything. He's not wrestling offensively. He's not bringing any offensive output on the feet. He looks scared in there. He looks scared to engage. Brandon Moreno should have ran him into a dick saw and got him out of there in 2 rounds. But he kind of toyed with him for 5 rounds and just won an easy decision. I think that this is going to be a much tougher test for him this time around. Erceg's in his prime. He's only 29 years old. This dude is huge for the division. He's got a very good jab. He's a very good grappler, and the size presents a problem. I worry about the conditioning, though, because we know Brandon Moreno's conditioning is going to be on point. We know that he can go at altitude for extended periods of time. I'm not sure about Erceg, because Erceg has a massive weight cut to make 126 pounds at 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. So this is a very, very interesting fight, but I think there's some short-term bad recency bias on Steve Erceg that might be getting us an underpriced line here. And I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about that.
All right, Jeremy, about a 40-cent move. I don't know. You tell us. You got the markets there from this week. Erceg stunned on home turf. Moreno here, kind of at home. He's done this before. Has fought several times in Mexico. What do we have here, Jeremy?
This is a really tough one for me, right? Erceg lost against Kai Kara-France, where he was a big favorite. And you can't really – Kai Kara-France is the real deal, in my opinion. I think that was probably a pretty poorly priced line, looking back on it. I really think Kai Kara-France is going to be one of the biggest names in this division. But then you also look at Moreno. This guy has lived in 5-round fights for a majority of his career. And now you add in the altitude, you add in the home home field advantage, and it's a tough line. I'm having a tough time picking a side here. I think Moreno at the current price, minus 220, way too expensive. So I don't know if you get him at the opposite side here, like you're looking maybe like minus 180, maybe it's worth it. But then again, Erceg, he's hungry, he's up and coming. He's shown some good things, but Moreno, you never know with that guy. I feel like that guy, he fights because he loves fighting. And yeah, he mentioned potential retirement, this and that, but he's not stepping in the cage if he's not looking to get into a real fight, to give it his all. So it's difficult with the price here. I don't really see a spot I love at the moment. I would probably need to see some line movement. Over under's not really speaking to me either. I think it's going to be a great fight as a fan. But if you're looking to play anything, right? If you don't have a side, you're looking at plus money, young guy up and coming. Maybe gets him out of there early. It's unlikely, but yeah, having a tough time with this one. So excited to hear what VB has to say because I don't really see a spot I love personally.
Maybe Moreno did get that bounce back win a little bit, but is his career on the upswing or downswing here? And are they just throwing him a bone here one more time in Mexico?
I think they're trying to set up Moreno here. I think they realize they rushed Erceg, and I want to ask Uncle Wiz a question. I think he disappeared for a second, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how much win equity I can put on Erceg's finish. Like I just don't. I have a hard time copying that. How many times out of 10, 10 he finishes Moreno when he wins. How many times can he win a decision? I have a hard time with that. And that's why the over under for me is very sketchy. It looks to me a little bit overpriced on the over. Because minus like 280. I don't know. I mean, whatever it is, it seems too high to me. Like. Moreno, at the end of the day, has finished. A guy like Figueiredo, he actually stopped guy out of France. And Erceg has been fighting, good level competition, but he finished like Chanel pretty good. I mean, he dropped some of the fighters he saw. I mean, Pantoja. I mean, he was landing on Pantoja too. I would say he was winning on the feet. So I don't know. Like, Wizzy, what you think about the over under? In general, like, do you think Erceg has good chance to finish this fight?
I mean, well, no, I mean, like, I don't think anybody's got a good chance to finish Brandon Moreno. This dude's got a chin that's made of iron. Has Moreno ever been finished as a professional?
No.
I know he got finished once in a exhibition fight by Pantoja in the Tough House. But yeah, 32 professional fights, former champion, 9 5-round fights in the UFC. This guy's never been finished as a professional. So, I mean, for Erceg to go out here and finish Brandon Moreno, that would be a hell of an accomplishment at elevation where you might gas out and get tired too. So, yeah, I mean, I think if there's a finish, it's going to be on the Moreno side.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Moreno, tough customer. He's not going down, in my opinion. Yeah. But like I said, like his trajectory, we don't know where he's at right now. But if he's stepping into the ring, I think he's ready to go. Like he's not taking a fight. He's got a great history, like great track record. He's fought in some big name fights, like lives in the 5-round fight world. Erceg, I think, has 1 5-round fight in his career. So you really don't know how 4 or 5 are going to go. But it's a tough betting fight, especially at the prices given right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Moreno is super tough. He takes shots. When he gets dropped, he usually does well to recover. And, Pantoja landed a lot of big shots, but he took it, and
yeah,
I agree with Jeremy. It's hard to finish this guy.
With us, BB? We might have lost BB here.
Yeah.
Okay. Wheezy, can you take this one for me real quick? We'll get VB back on the line here. No, I'm not what Noble's saying here, because the way we're talking about it, we're talking about a fight that is minus 250 or so to go the
Hello?
distance here. So, go ahead, VB. Let me finish this statement here. We'll get right back to you, VB.
Yep.
We caught just about everything before you got cut off, but my question was going to be, or at least addressing this here while we just lost you, was obviously Erceg, the only way he can kind of get this is to outpoint Moreno. But go ahead and finish your thought, VB, and you guys can continue up on that question by the guest in the chat too. Thank you,
Yeah,
VB.
yeah. I was reading the comment and somehow I got what happened, but yeah, I was saying like Moreno ITD is plus 220 and the under is plus 190. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would play the under at that point because it's very small difference. It's still MMA. I mean, people break hand, people get injured. You know, all kinds of things. You know, people get cuts. Like, and Erceg has good back takes. I mean, just saying. I mean, Moreno has been choked out. I mean, Erceg is pretty slick back taker too. So even though it's very low possibility, I think it's still better to take the under instead of Moreno ITD. You know, in my opinion, but. I don't know. To me, like Moreno seems a little bit better everywhere. You know, I think he's more durable. I think his boxing is a little bit faster. His hands are faster, in my opinion. You know, I would say maybe Erceg hits harder, maybe, but I would say Moreno is a little bit faster. You know, way he pieced up Kaikara Friends in the first fight was very impressive. I watched that fight today, and he enters pocket very well. He gets out of the pocket very well. His grappling looks slick. You know, he stopped Kaikara Friends with body kick. I don't see many body kicks, leg kicks from Erceg in general, which I don't like. And so I'm gonna pick Moreno here, you know, but the price right now is kind of too high, and I just can't play it, you know, because it's too high. You know, I was thinking that maybe 180, 170 would be maybe bearable, but right now I think it's too high. And I always say when you have two top 5 guys, if you're betting the plus 200, plus 250 on those top 5 fighters, long term you're doing very well.
Yeah.
You know. And that's a huge thing here because I'm saying this and then I'm not betting Erceg. Maybe it's not. Maybe I should be betting Erceg, but I just think Moreno is just too durable. Erceg got knocked out. His confidence is not the same probably right now. You know, for a title, he almost had it. You know, that was a close fight, but then you come back and you get knocked out. Now you need a couple more wins to get fight for a title. So. Confidence can be there, you know, in my opinion, right now for Erceg. Moreno looked great last fight. He dominates Albazi, some 10-8 rounds in there. You know, like that was a very good performance. I bet him big there. So, yeah, I'll go with Moreno. I don't know if I should bet him or not at this price. Probably not because it's almost 70%. And how can you line Moreno more than that? You know, in this fight, you're probably lying to yourself at that point. So, I'll go with Moreno. I'm staying away, you know, because I think Moreno should be like 65% favorite, maybe 60, maybe even. But I think he wants more than that. And on Erceg, I'm not getting huge plus money. I'm getting plus 180, but if it's 65% on 35 to Erceg, it's not a huge edge, you know. So I'm gonna stay away as far as money line goes. The over under, I lean over, of course. I mean, but it's juice, so I don't want to bet over either. It's like minus 250, you know. So I'm kind of staying away. If you're looking to get like a little bit, you know, risky, maybe take Moreno stop plus 800. You know, maybe that's how he wins. Knocking out Erceg again is possible, but I think Moreno is more like a back take or guillotine kind of guy than a knockout. I know he stopped Kaikara France, but for some reason, like knockout is plus 350 and the sub is plus 800, which I kind of disagree with. You know, if it probably should be the other way around. You know, so. I'm taking Moreno here, but I'm not betting it. And I think we gave you good plays before. We bet both, but I don't want to get involved here. The line is probably a little too high. So
maybe the opener $1.85, $1.90, whatever. Is that acceptable? Is that just right on with that kind of
right on? Probably
right on. Yeah.
Yeah. If it was minus 160, 170, I would bet him. Anything over that's a little bit too much. You know. Minus 230, I think it's kind of too much. And again, I know why people are betting Erceg. At the same time, I can't trust him. I think he's heatable. I think his champ is in the air kind of too much. You know, even Costa landed on him, kind of rocked him. The guy got a French, knocked him out. I think the range management in general is better on Moreno's side. You know, And he's hard to like land clean on. Pantoja was the only guy who did that. So I don't know, man. Tough fights. I cannot see why UFC want Moreno to lose here either. I think he's one of the biggest stars, right, in the UFC right now as far as flyweight goes too. Why would they want Erceg to go to Mexico and possibly beat Moreno? I don't know. I think they gave Erceg fair amount of opportunities. They gave him a title shot. That they gave him a fight in, I think it was in Australia, right? So they're trying to build him, but he just didn't do enough. He couldn't win those fights. So I don't know. I think it's Moreno in Mexico here, probably by late finish or decision. So
All right, you see Fernando there in the chat. He's waving the tricolores
yeah.
flag there, but I don't know if he's homering it up for him there. Jeremy, any chance this number's coming back? Or have you seen any tick down at all since this significant move?
Going over it here, I don't think there's been much movement. Looking at it, we had some Moreno go out at 192 yesterday. Now we're looking at 228. So it seems like that 180 to 190 was kind of the trigger point for the bettors over on SX. I price it. I think I need a little more there, even same as VB. 170, 180 could be worth it. But yeah, laying 220 on a guy sort of sliding in pedigree against an up-and-comer who's hungry to get back into those title looks. It's just too expensive at this spot. Anything sub 190 could be a play if the line gets back there. I doubt it does. So that's what we're seeing over on the exchange right now.
Yeah, and then one guy needs to win this fight, and one guy really doesn't need to win this fight. You know what I mean? Like Moreno won this last one. Erceg doesn't want to lose 3 in a row. You know what I mean? And he's got to be very hungry here. And if he's not confident enough, I think he probably loses again. And the Royal performance was the one that, is making me stop. Royal performance was not good. Royal was able to jab him up. Somehow it was a split decision. I don't think how. Like I think he won 4, maybe all 5 rounds. Royal, But I think Royal performance was the one that kind of saying maybe Moreno is not there anymore. Maybe Albazi is just deadbed on the feet and he looked good, but maybe against a decent striker he doesn't look good. So for me, this is gonna answer a lot more questions. I'd rather not take a side, and see what happens. But in general, when you have 2 top 10 guys, top 5 guys, most of the time underdog is the side. But again, I have a feeling Erceg is not confident here after getting knocked out that he may pull very bad performance. He may look like Albazi here for some reason, So we'll see where it goes.
All right, guys. VB, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it with the crew. Let's send these guys on out of here. And thank you to everybody in the chat for your participation and comments here on VB MMA Picks. Remember, you can follow VB MMA Picks on X. Get his fight card for this weekend. UFC, Mexico City, Moreno versus Erceg on Saturday, March 29th at the Sede MX Arena in Mexico City. UFC MMA Picks is brought to you by SX Bet, the world's largest blockchain betting exchange. VB, say goodbye to your friends. Wheezy here. Thank you so much. Great always to see Wheezy. Go ahead, VB.
Yeah, Uncle Wheezy, thank you for joining. I think you're one of the sharpest guys when it comes to stats, So if we're not anything before we get out of here, I would love to hear what you have to say.
Oh yeah, I mean you can check me out at MMA Wheezy on Twitter. You can find my probability stats and content package on oddsshopper.com. I do picks every week. I write, I do fight write-ups. I give out statistics packages with, betting models, analytics, matchup stats, everything that you could possibly imagine related to statistics and betting for the UFC better. So check me out on Odds Shopper. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out on YouTube at Uncle Wheezy. And VB, thanks for having me, fellas. Great chopping it up with you guys today.
Thank you.
And Jeremy, what can our bettors expect when they go to SX Bet? Of course, available in Canada and many, many more countries as well. Tell us what they can expect. The world's largest blockchain betting exchange.
Yeah, SX Bet Peer-to-peer blockchain betting exchange. We're coming off back-to-back our biggest weeks ever with over $8 million in $8 million US dollars volume going through our site. No bans, no limits. Money comes straight out of your account, goes right to a contract, goes right back into your account. So you never have to worry about getting limited, never have to worry about getting your funds. You're always in control. We also have an open API for guys like Wheezy. If you got analytics and data, you could set up a quick bot that could offer odds, can take odds if you see a number you like. So SXBet, great place to get the best prices in the world, deploy any betting bots or strategies you have, never have to worry about those bans or limits.
Yeah, I mean, again, every week we really do get best odds. If you look at the lines we're getting, like, last week we got live at I think 5 something. That was not anywhere, 0 at minus 135 today, like 2 double plus 112. Again, the best line. So I think every week we're getting good lines, and if somebody's getting a good line, it means the other side is also getting a good line. Like when I'm getting plus 110, it means somebody's getting minus 110 on Manuel Torres, right? So it's a great concept. So check it out, and link is down below also for if you want to sign up right away. Do so.
Yeah,
Very much. Thank you also for hosting the show every week.
Yeah, my pleasure. It is the future of betting for sure. Thank you to everybody in the chat, and we'll catch you next week with more VB MMA picks.